Deb.
Hello, Deb.
How are you?
I'm doing swell. How about you?
I'm doing dandy.
Great.
Thanks for being at rehearsal tonight.
Of course.
Table work on the hijab.
Yes.
I did it.
You got it right.
Yay!
I knew by the end of the night it would happen.
Yes, I can say a 2-syllable word. Let's talk about it. We're talking about 9/11, obviously a horrendously tragic day, and how it affected the Muslim community. Yes, and so it's so good to have you here because I think this is an important perspective. So how's it going for you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, when we go back, when we hear 9/11, it triggers a lot of different emotions for us, not only because of everything that happened in the world, but also how things changed for us. You know, we went from being virtually unknown people. It was like, what is a Muslim? What is all this? To now, all of a sudden, everybody, the whole world knows what a Muslim is, but nobody really knows who we are, kind of a thing.
You're stereotyped into this kind of evil, which is not, I mean, working with you, I know I worked with you during Ramadan and threw a McDonald's bag at your head. And you had low blood sugar. I mean, you weren't, you were fasting and still performing and so dedicated. It's a beautiful religion. And
and it's, you know, the hijab is taken out of context. People take it as a way of being something that's oppressive, that is, you know, not allowing the woman to progress. And it's totally the opposite. And 9/11 really brought this into mainstream because it became a symbol of what is wrong with this religion, when it's not that. It's actually a very, you know, beautiful garment which women wear, and it's very respected, and it allows a woman to really be who she is without being, I guess, in a sense, so adorned with other things, that it allows you to be you.
I keep thinking in terms of theater of mask work, the commedia work we've done with neutral mask, and it just seems to have the same kind of liberating quality when used the way it's intended.
It becomes, I mean, you have the hijab on, and you come out, as opposed to what color your hair is, or what clothes you're wearing, or the makeup that you've done. You know, you're allowed to shine in a sense, even though people think, oh, it's oppressing, but it's really not. It's allowing you to be more free because you don't have to worry about the other things.
But then the other side of the argument, I mean, I think the play embraces both sides, but you're representing this sort of the positive attribute of the cloth.
Right. And with 9/11, though, like I was saying, a lot of my friends, I was telling you, took it off, the hijab off, because it made them a target. And that is another focus of this play, is that you put on this hijab and mainstream, then you are the mouthpiece for the religion. You're supposed to know everything about it. You're supposed to know why, you know, the terrorists are doing this or why they're doing that. And it is really... It's just really, sometimes it's very confusing because, you know, we grew up knowing this is what we do, you know, this is what we wear because that's what the religion says, and it's a symbol of modesty. But nowadays you wear it and all of a sudden, am I going to be able to get a job? Am I going to be able to just walk outside in the streets without being harassed? Am I going to be able to be respected by my peers? A lot of stuff happens with the hijab on, and it's very conflicting and confusing for us, those that want to wear it, those that don't want to wear it. It really starts becoming a personal choice, and we really have to consider nowadays the ramifications if you do put it on,
right?
Which was never an issue before, really.
And so I'm glad you're here, bringing all of your experience to this play, because I think it's so specific. Yeah. Did you want to say anything about this play in particular?
The play is beautiful. The play, when you told me about it, I loved it. I've never seen a play focused on, especially two Muslim women having to, what they dealt with after 9/11. You know, the Muslim community was really, we didn't know what to do. It was a very confusing time because what we wore made such a difference now. What we look like made such a difference now. And what do we do? Do we still embrace what our traditions and our culture is? Or does that wane off? And do we blend in with everyone else so we're not targeted? You know, and that is still I guess a point of discussion amongst the community. There's some people that feel like, no, I'm just gonna blend in, and not, I don't want to rile anybody up. I don't want to do anything. I just want to live. So that means I have to change what I wear. If I have to change how I look, that's what I'll do to survive. And others are like, no, this is a part of me, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me otherwise.
Right.
And then they go through their own troubles. So the play really focuses on that type of struggle, because we know overall what it represents, but nowadays it's a complete different meaning.
It's so interesting to look at the cultural identity, the familial identity, and then just the individual identity, and to balance those three things.
Yeah.
Especially something I've not experienced when you come from a place where that's being destroyed or been attacked. I mean, obviously 9/11 we were attacked.
Right.
But what's happening in Afghanistan, what happened in Afghanistan, and all of this story, it's just absolutely fascinating and compelling. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, of course. And I'm really excited and working with Mira. She's, my aunt in this play, and she brings so much of her own wisdom and experience. And I think it's really nice to have our background. We can relate so much to these characters and be able to really... I feel every time I read this, I feel something inside. There's lines that affect me.
Yeah.
And because I've kind of gone through growing up during the first Gulf War and
with
everything.
the last name of Hussein.
That was just, I was all she wrote right there. But
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things, you get these experiences, and unfortunately they're there. And the play really helps to bring that out, but it's more either you go in a positive way or you go in a negative way.
Right.
And it's really based on how inside you have to look at yourself and your surroundings as well. So I was just really glad that I had really good friends and a really good, environment, and to show that, yes, there are some people that will end up harassing you or saying stuff and calling you names and just making life miserable, but there's more that will love you and care for you and say, hey, it doesn't matter who you are. You're just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Thank you. See you tomorrow night.
All righty.